Is this my good sign? I don't know. Oh, hey guys. I'm gonna show you how to create a texture that tiles infinitely in Photoshop. We can use this for game design or 3D modeling or SketchUp. That's really what I'm going to show you use it for, is in SketchUp. All right, so here I am in SketchUp. I have two little models here of some wood. I've got this little board here. This is like a 1x4 and some plywood, and I want to create a texture for those. So first I need to take a video. All right, I'm going to take some photos of my textures for my wood. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to get a texture for sort of planar wood, like sheets, as well as like sort of construction dimensional lumber. And I'm going to use this same texture for all the different types of lumber. And again, you can just take one texture, but I'm going to do two so I can show you. So let's get that photo. Okay, now I've taken those pictures, I've added them to my computer. I'm going to hop into Photoshop and I'm going to pull up those images, my textures. I took 3 pictures because I'm going to do a couple different use cases for them. So I'm going to bring in my first one. Now I'm shooting in RAW. And that means it's going to open in the RAW editor, kind of like Lightroom, and I can just hit open. You can take these photos on a phone with whatever you have. The best camera is the one that you have on you. So I'm going to open all 3 of these in here. Again, dragging them kind of like the RAW thing because it lets me do quick adjustments with my images to get them how I want. That way I don't have to do all that editing in Photoshop, which you can do. And I'm just going to increase that. Okay. A little bit of exposure fixes. First thing I'm going to do in each one is I'm going to crop it. A couple ways to crop. You can use the crop tool. Who would have thought? I can also just use the selection tool, which is what I'm going to do, like that. And I'll do image crop. So 2 different ways to do that. Something I like to do is to make sure that my levels are correct. And you usually just want to kind of move this little highlights level to the left a little bit, and maybe some of the shadows, and then the midtones, adjust that. That's great. So that's my first image edited. I'll get this next one. This is going to be for like boards or construction lumber, and I'm trying to get off anything that I don't need there. This one's going to look fairly repeatable, so maybe I should have taken a different shot, but that's okay. And then this one, crop that. This is going to go on the ends of the lumber because I want to be very cool and precise. I am going to go to hue saturation and actually desaturate this a bit because there's just a little too much color in that. Who would have thought there could be such a thing? But sometimes having too much color is not good. I'm actually going to do that to all these, taking out some of the saturation. Okay. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to create an infinitely tileable texture. First thing I need to do is go to View and turn on Snap. And I'm going to drag in some guides, the top and the bottom here. And I'm going to go to Image, Canvas size, and I'm going to make the canvas size 200% bigger in each direction. When I do that, it's going to give me this. I should have put that on its own layer before, but I did not. So I'm going to select that. Now I'm snapping to my guide so I can easily select just the wood texture. And I'm going to hit Command J. That's going to give me that wood texture on its own layer. And I can move that to the side and above. And I'll hit Command colon or semicolon, same key. And I'm going to let's do that again. And I'm going to bring this one to its own layer, Command J. And I'm actually going to delete, dang, get out of the way. Okay. I'm going to delete this background layer. There we go. And then I'm going to select my 3 layers, hit Command E. Let's merge. You can also get it from here in the layers panel. You can merge, visible from there. So I've merged those. And normally what I would showcase for how to create this is you get the, what is it? The clone tool and the healing brush tool, and you go in, you make these all fit. But actually, I'm just going to do something that's really easy to do now. And I'm going to select the seams, right? So we're trying to make this seamless and tileable seamlessly. I'm going to select these seams, and I'm going to just use generative fill. I'm not even going to tell it what to do. I'm going to let it figure it out, and I think it will. It's going to kind of remove those seams in there. Certain use cases, it might be better to actually clone stamp and make these fit perfectly. And I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Actually, I did a pretty good job. If I wanted to, I could come into here. I'll just flatten that down with my clone stamp tool. And if I hold Option, I can choose to sort of clone different parts. So if I wanted this to kind of be gone, I could do that. If I wanted to. There is a little bit of color difference in here that I could fix. And then with the clone stamp tool, you might want to get some of the bits and bobs in here that you don't like. Oh, but screen. Okay. That looks pretty good. I think that's going to be usable. Maybe I would want these to be, seems a little blurry and a little dark in here. So maybe I could spend more time, but right now I'm just showing you how to do this. So once I've done that, I put my guides back on, grab my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to hit Command J on the bottom part of this, Command J, and I'm going to drag that down to the bottom, like that. Because that part up here is already set to tile with this down here, I just need to move the top of this to be a part of this, because this main image here is going to be our image that we tile. So I'll do the same thing, selecting that same layer. I'll do the same thing for the right side here, and I'll hit Command J. I'm making sure to grab enough of the parts that I've already selected. And there we have it. Those two parts overlap. Now, they do overlap, so what I will do is grab that top one, put a mask on it, and I'm just going to erase using black just this little corner here, so it doesn't conflict with the part beneath it. And hopefully, if we've done everything right, let's make sure these line up. Looks like they do. These should connect pretty well. Might need to always practice. See. Say that. Actual better extreme base. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to select all, holding Shift on my layers, hit Command D, and then I'm going to select my original, and I'm the image crop, and I'm back to my original size, and it should tile. We can test it. So if I go into offset, so filter, other, offset, I can offset it, and I can't see the seam. That means it worked. And so now I'm going to export it. I actually don't want this to be a huge file. This is a massive file. 4,000 by 5,000 pixels. That's crazy. I'm going to reduce it by a lot. I'm going to do 800 by 1,000 because I want to use this inside SketchUp. Now, there are some little extra dots here I can remove, and that I will use the clone stamp tool to remove those. If the clone stamp tool leaves things leaving a bit odd, like you can see the stamp, you can't on this, but if you do, come back with the healing brush tool, and that can kind of heal those periods that you want. So I tend to do clone stamp and then healing brush. Okay, so that was pretty good. So now I'm going to file, export as, and we're going to do a JPEG. Keeps it nice and small. I'll even do quality 5. And so we don't have a super high resolution image here. And I'm going to put this inside a textures folder where I'm working, and I'm going to call it plywood texture JPEG. Bam. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing for these two parts. Whoops. I had snap turned off. I want that on. And I'm going to repeat that same process for these two. I will double click that image, canvas size, 200%. And I'll copy that, merge together. And again, I'm going to use the generative. I'm going to give this a little bit wider area to choose for it to fix those seams. And this saves me a lot of time in terms of actually fixing the texture. And it should save you some time as well. It starts to get messy when you start moving all the pixels and trying to get perfect and make it all fit. In this case, let's see, it gave me 3 options. That one's pretty good. I'll probably go with that one. Now, this wasn't a great choice for texture because there are all these seams or these this sort of dark area here, and that's going to be tiling quite a bit when I do this. So I think I'm actually going to redo it so it's just the wood part to make it look a little better. And I'm going to do the same thing for this. Actually, I won't even do the same for this end piece. This we can just use as is. So I'm going to export, and I'm going to do 1,000 pixels here, set at 5. This one I don't need to tile because it just goes on the end of wood. And I'll say lumber, lumber, is it side, top, edge? We're going to say cut. We'll say lumber, cut side. I spelled lumber on lumber. Is that his one lumber? Yeah. Burr. Yeah. All right. Let's just finish this one real quick before I move on. And you'll see how the tiling is not so great. So I move that down to the bottom. Grab the side. Go back over to there. And brush. Sparks. Put it together. Crop it. And we're going to file exports. That's JPEG. And make this like 800, 200. Let's make this 1,000. Okay. Again, poly 5, say the little size. And export. And this is going to be called lumber. Just call it side texture. There we go. Now, let's head back into here. SketchUp. So let's check this texture. This texture, you can use it anywhere. Bring it into Blender. Don't need to Unity or Unreal or whatever, wherever it is you, Roblox, SketchUp, you name it. It's ready to go. Obviously, there's more things you might want to do with the texture depending on what it is. In this case, let's bring in our first texture. So I'm going to double click into this group, go up to File, Import from my device. And this says I can drag there. I can. And I'll bring in the side of the lumber. I'm going to bring it as material. Very important. I bring it in as material. And when I bring it in, I can set the size. Bam. There it is. That is fantastic. And now what I can do is I can actually take that material and I can use it everywhere. So I'll just eyedrop that material and I'll put it on all the sides. There we go. And now I'm going to bring in the edge. So this will be the edge, File, import color device. Let's bring in the hedge material. Go as a material. Oh, I did not. Did I resize that? I think I didn't. And I want to make sure it's the right size. There we go. And again, I'm going to high drop that and bring it over to this side. There we go. Now I have that nice cool cut edge. Like that looks like real wood. Look, we just did that. Actually, the texture's not too bad. Let's do the last piece. And that's going to be this guy. Our plywood texture. Bring it in as material. And when I bring it as material, that's when I set the size. So I'm going to kind of try and make this size it was so that it looks accurate. And then I can copy that and bams, bams, bam. There we go. Two completely original wood textures ready to use anywhere I want. Now, this dimensional lumber I have here, I can recreate these into any shape I want. And I don't even have to worry about creating a texture. I've already created my own original texture. And so if I wanted to make like a 2x4, I could. That's probably not quite 2x4. But there you go. You get the idea. And then you can reuse these as much as you want and make them any size that you want. Now, obviously, I would probably want to realign this little edge material here, and we can do that. So if I right click and I go to texture, I can do position, and I can adjust the position I want. Bam. There we go. Perfect. There we go. And I'm done. Congrats.